Hey guys, it's Jonathan. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about LGBT representation in media, more specifically movies and TV shows. So in this video, I'm mostly going to be talking about teen movies and TV shows, mostly ones that I've already seen just because I have the context of the show and I know the plot and the characters, so I guess so I could give further insight into my analysis of the shows. But I'll also try to touch on some shows maybe that I haven't watched and just examining them from an outsider's point of view. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So issues and concerns with the mainstream media in North America. The LGBT communities have taken an increasingly proactive stand in defining their own culture, with the primary goal of achieving an affirmative visibility in mainstream media. The positive portrayal or increased presence of the LGBT communities in media have served to increase acceptance and support for LGBT communities, establish LGBT communities as the norm, and provide information on the topic. Okay, that's just something right now. Okay, so some LGBT movies I'm going to be discussing include the coming-of-age 2018 movie Love, Simon, the 1999 lesbian film But I'm a Cheerleader, Miss Education of Cameron Post, Booksmart, The Half of It, Crush, and Boys Don't Cry. So yeah, I might also discuss some other media depictions of LGBT teens if I find them relevant for this video. But anyways, without further ado, let's get started. So I'll first start off with a statistic from the media advocacy group GLAAD that says a new report has found that LGBT representation on US TV is at a high, with nearly 12% of regular characters who are LGBT, up from 2.8% last year. The numbers come from a study by LGBT media advocacy group GLAAD. Okay, yeah, those are just some statistics for you guys just to get a clearer picture of the state of LGBT representation today, compared to, I guess you could say, the 90s wasn't as prevalent, and there were also a lot more negative stereotypes about anyone who isn't cisgender and straight. So yeah, that's a good thing, but in the past, LGBT people have been seen as I'm gonna search it right now. So in essence, I guess you could say that gay men are portrayed more feminine and lesbian women more masculine, sometimes to an extreme extent that is often untrue. And also there are the media representations of bisexual and transgender people tend to either completely erase them or depict them as morally corrupt or mentally unstable. For example, bisexual people in real life and in media are often told to pick a side, and transgender people are often told that their gender identity has to be the one that they were assigned at birth, even if they don't identify as that gender. And of course, there are also non-binary and gender non-conforming people who are often not portrayed in media and sometimes are portrayed negatively, with them being misgendered alongside other things. And these stereotypical style character representations sometimes vilify or make light of marginalized and misunderstood groups. So basically, sometimes the LGBT characters are portrayed to be the villain, which is not always a bad thing, because I think it's a good idea to show the good and bad side of all characters and not try to make a character all good or not bad, because like in real life, I think movie and television characters should have some nuance, and because no one's all good or all bad, so it wouldn't make sense to have a character that's the hero and it never does anything wrong, or the villain and doesn't have any motive behind why they're the villain. Like, they're just the villain for no reason. But yeah, okay, so now I think I'm gonna go onto the examples. So here is case study 1. So first example I'm gonna use is the recent 2018 film Love, Simon, and the description here states, everyone deserves a great love story, but for some 17-year-old Simon's spirit is a little more complicated. He hasn't told his family or friends that he's gay, and he doesn't know the identity of the anonymous classmate that he's fallen for online. Solving both issues proves hilarious, terrifying, and life-changing. Okay, so this movie was released, as I probably said like a million times, in 2018, and it was one of the first mainstream portrayals of an LGBT relationship. I guess you could say it's the first like mainstream gay rom-com, but although it's a step forward for representation, especially in mainstream media, there have been criticisms of the film since it centers around a protagonist who does come from a place of privilege, who's experienced things that lots of other LGBT people don't, such as like an accepting family, and also like they do come from a place of privilege since they're cis. The titular character Simon is a cis white man who doesn't really face a lot of discrimination compared to a minor character in the movie, Ethan, who is more like feminine, I guess you could say, or like stereotypically gay, flamboyant, and also is a person of color, which I guess shows that like how you're treated when you come out does depend on your upbringing, and also like how you present yourself. And I guess if you don't like fit the mold of what straight people think is like okay, then I guess you would be discriminated. And yeah, this is not something that's really touched on in the movie, and the movie is kind of like, I guess, like a utopia where people aren't really that discriminatory, besides like the whole blackmail incident, which is the whole plot in the movie. But besides that, like the main character Simon seems to live like normal life, and like there's not that much like conflict, or it's not like too realistic to what like your average gay teen would go through. So yeah, that's it for case study number 1. And now I'm gonna talk about honestly one of my favorite movies of all time, but I'm a cheerleader. I think I mentioned it in my Buffy video. If you guys watched that, I know it's kind of long, so like that video only got like 50 views, so if you didn't watch that, like I don't blame you. But yeah, this movie, I'm going to read the description because okay. Megan considers herself an American girl. She excels in school and cheerleading, and she has a handsome football-playing boyfriend, even though she isn't that crazy about it. So she's done when her parents decide she's gay and sent her to True Directions, a boot camp meant to alter her sexual orientation. While there, Megan meets a rebellious and unashamed teen lesbian, Graham. Though Megan still feels confused, she starts to have feelings for Graham. So yeah, this is one of my favorite movies of all time, because I really love the 2000s vibe, and there are a lot of cool actresses in this movie, like Natasha Lyonne, who's in Orange is the New Black, and Clea Duvall. Oh yeah, she's in Girl Interrupted and some other movies. Oh, and also Michelle Williams, who plays Jen Lilly in Dawson's Creek. And there's also a really iconic line from RuPaul, who you may know from RuPaul's Drag Race. And he says, "I too was once a gay," or something. Maybe if I find the clip, I'll put it here. But yeah, I think it's really funny. So I think it's like one of the better portrayals of LGBT teens, especially since it's a relatively old movie compared to the other movies on this list. And like, although there are a lot of like conversion therapy movies, like this one is like unique in a way, because like it kind of subverts a trope of how like sending your kid to like a gay conversion therapy camp is actually kind of gay if you think about it. because they're like around other gays. So like that is maybe not the best idea if you're like homophobic and stuff. And also, I was reading the YouTube comments of this movie, and there was someone who said like, if my boyfriend would kiss me like that, I would be gay too, which I thought was funny. And yeah, and also, True Directions also reminds me of New Directions from Glee. I might make a Glee video because I love Glee. It's so like chaotic, and like so like out there, like all over the place. Like I have no idea what's going on that show half the time. But yeah, I love it. Yeah. I think this movie is really like fun and campy, and I think I just really love the 2005 because like the 2000s might be my favorite decade, even though I was born in 2005, which means I only got to experience the second half of the 2000s. Oh, speaking of RuPaul in this movie, that's why I have an iconic shirt in this movie that says "Straight is great." I might put it here because it's so funny. Anyways, I think I'm gonna go on to the next film now. Conversion therapy camps are still prevalent in society in order to fix people's sexuality that is anything other than straight and a gender identity, anything other than cisgender. Gay and lesbian characters are often not seen as the main characters of their own story and are often seen as the supporting characters or the gay best friend without a story of their own. In addition, current Republican lawmakers, such as Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, has signed the so-called Don't Say Gay bill in 2022 that banned elementary schools from talking about the LGBT community. People have negatively stereotyped lesbian and gay people in the past and continue to today. The whole purpose of fictional LGBT characters are to tell their stories through their own eyes, and although these characters are not real people, they can resemble and represent a group of people. Let's see. LGBT people are more common than you realize and cannot be bottled down to stereotypes and boxes. This year's study found that of the 75 series regular characters scheduled to appear on scripted broadcast primetime programming for the 2022 to 2021 season, 92 characters, or 11.9%, are LGBTQ. This is an increase of 2.8 percentage points from the previous year and marks a new record high percentage of LGBTQ series regulars on the broadcast. There are an additional 49 LGBTQ recurring characters on the platform for a total of 141 LGBTQ characters on the broadcast. Telling diverse and inclusive lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer stories have never been more critical at a time like this. An unprecedented number of anti-LGBTQ bills continue to be proposed in state legislature, such as the aforementioned Don't Say Gay or Don't Say Trans bill across the U.S. Historically, the portrayal of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people in media has been negative, reflecting the cultural intolerance of LGBT individuals. However, from the 1990s to the present day, there has been an increase in the depictions of LGBT people, issues, and concerns within mainstream media in North America and the U.S. The LGBT communities have taken an increasingly proactive stance in defining their own culture, with the primary goal of achieving affirmative visibility in mainstream media. The positive portrayal or increased presence of the LGBT communities in media has served to increase acceptance and support for the LGBT communities, establish LGBT communities as a norm, and provide information on the topic. This new acceptance from the media can partially be explained by the contact hypothesis, which lessens prejudice towards gay. The contact hypothesis states that the more that you come in contact towards a certain group of people, the more used to them you are, and this can help reduce negative prejudice between majority, for example, straight and cisgender people, and minority, for example, LGBT people. Now I'm going to be talking about two prevalent tropes that have occurred in LGBT representation in media. One of these tropes is the gay best friend trope, which is normally negatively stereotyped towards men. And the other trope I'm going to be talking about is the barrier gaze trope, which is more prevalent towards lesbian or bisexual women. So the first stereotype, the gay best friend trope can be described as a negative stereotype used to portray gay men as flamboyant and accessories to straight women without personalities or stories of their own. So, for example, in the satire movie GBF, the plot of the movie is about two rival cliques trying to find a gay best friend, which the movie is very cringy. Like, if you've watched the movie, I personally haven't, but it's obviously satire and it's obviously critiquing how the characters act in the movie and not condoning their behavior. So yeah, I also wrote here, the gay best friend is into stereotypically, according to this trope, is into stereotypically feminine things like fashion, makeup, makeovers, shopping, or reality shows like RuPaul's Drag Race. They are often the supporting characters in the straight best friend story and are supposed to be part of the plot to help their straight best friend with their love life without really having a love life or a life of their own. Also, a negative stereotype that's portrayed by the gay best friend trope is a straight woman wanting a gay best friend but treating lesbians negatively, such as like assuming that lesbians have a crush on them or something, saying like, oh, like, you don't have a crush on me or anything, do you? Yeah, that's what I wrote here. And also, lesbians and bisexual women are sometimes seen as undesirable or ugly based on their attraction or lack thereof to men, which, because relationships with men are prioritized in our society, women can be looked down upon for not having a relationship with a man, and their relationships with women can be invalidated as like not a real romantic relationship and like just two best friends, which have been seen a lot of in society. Like, if you look at the Reddit page R Sappho and her friend, this is a prime example of lesbian and bisexual relationships being invalidated. Okay, the next trope I'm going to be talking about is the bury your gays trope, also known as dead lesbian syndrome. This trope pertains to gay or lesbian characters who were killed off unceremoniously after, at the end of an episode or a movie or show. Like, for example, one example of this, which I think I probably talked about in my Buffy video, but is Tara McClay from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I got a picture of her right here. And if you're not familiar with the show, Tara McClay portrayed Allison Hannigan's Willow Rosenberg's, Allison Hannigan being the actress who portrays her, Willow Rosenberg's girlfriend, from seasons 4 to 6, but was cut off in the season 6, episode 19, episode Seeing Red. The whole plot of that episode was one of the big bads of the season, which I would argue is not really a big bad, but that's besides the point, was killed by a straight bullet that was shot by Warren Mears, the leader of the trio, which was meant for Buffy Summers but narrowly missed and landed on Tara McClay instead. This example of the bury your gays trope sees the gay or lesbian characters as disposable, especially if they're not the main characters. And Tara McClay's death was used to further the plot of Buffy. However, the show could have done without her death, and even the creator himself said that he regretted killing off Tara McClay, but you can't really reverse that. Okay, so that concludes today's video on LGBT representation in media. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to subscribe down below, like this video, and also comment down below what your favorite part of this video was, and also how LGBT representation in media has affected your life. Yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. And have a good day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
Church.